Nice. All right, we're good to go now. So it's a bit rainy and thundery and cloudy, so if you hear any noise in the background, it's not my fault. All right, so looking at repeater today, and the repeater tool essentially allows you to create shapes and repeat them. Let me just show you how it works. So I'm gonna start by create a new shape layer. We're gonna add to that shape layer a rectangle tool, and to that rectangle tool a fill, and that fill is gonna be the color white. I'm gonna press OK here. Now, just a bit of tweaking before I actually jump into it. The reason why I'm using a rectangle instead of, for instance, a circle is because with my rectangle, I actually have properties like roundness, like so, which I can make it more round or less round if I want to. So that's the real reason why I'm using it like that. You can also change the size, or the position rather, size if you want to. And if you want to disconnect their constrained proportions, you can click on that and you can create different shapes depending on whatever it is you want to create. Okay, so we're almost good. All right, so here's what we need to do. Inside we have our contents, we have rectangle path 1, but we also need to create a group for this to work properly. So once you create a empty group, and let's just look at the settings. We have a group here with absolutely nothing in there, but we also have a rectangle path and a fill. What we need to do is put both of them inside the group. Right, so here's a hierarchy. Inside the group goes the rectangle path. You just have to make sure the proper order is set. Path has to be above the fill. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. And I'm just going to check on my rectangle path, right, just to make sure things are okay. For now, everything's at 0. And then we're going to add a few more things. Let's add a repeater to the contents of this group. So repeater. So that puts my group here, my repeater here. One more thing is my transform on the repeater. Set the positioning to 0 so it all sits in one place. The next thing now, afterwards, is 1. Look at the group. It's fine. What we need to change though is the positioning, right? So repeater, transform. Thank you. Right. So with the scale, with the shape layer, we have to change a few things. One, our repeater has 3 copies, and we're going to just offset the anchor point of not the repeater, but the shape of the group. So here we go. Group. The group has transform properties, as you will see here. Let me just do that. And let's change the anchor point of the group from that to this. Once you've done that, repeaters are still in the same position. So what we're doing is just changing a few more options, such as rotation for the repeater itself, and you get these. Now all it is a matter of changing the amount of copies you want, right? And just organize it so it fits in with some other stuff. So let's say I wanted about 9 of them. If you have 9 of them, you just have to tweak the rotation settings, and you can click and hold CTRL. It gives you much smaller rotation sequences there. And once it lines up properly in terms of equidistance, you can always play with different options. So for example, let's say you want something to go, it's better I show you. You can't see what my hands are doing. All right, so I'm going to shrink the contents. So the shape, first of all, inside the group, that's the rectangle path. You can always play with the size, right? So if you want to create different shapes or different looks and feels, you can always do that. So if you want to create something that looks like a loading screen, right? You can always do this. Lower the amount of repeaters you have, right? So if we said less copies, or we did this, and you had it rotate, right? Offset is there. You can have it do a thing where it does things in terms of rotation. So you can do this. Let's have it keep rotating like that, right? So I'll hit 0 for that. What I want to do is just to kind of explode. So I'll put in probably 8 copies for now. Get them to line up properly, like so. And what I'll do, just animate the position or the scale. Sorry. For the fill size, yeah, we'll do this. So one, let's move the position, and if you're going to move the position or the center of the position, it's not this position that you need to change. Well, you can. You can also change the position that is here as well. Oops. But we work with this one for the shape itself. I'm going to go here, and size could be 1 and 1. I'm going to set a keyframe there, set a keyframe for position. I'm going to have it explode out a very short amount of time. So outside you want it to be like this. And the size is going to be small as well, even smaller, 0 and 0. But we want to explode out first, get bigger, and then shrink. So bigger size. So then you have something like this. And then it'll look more like this. Right? And it plays by this fast. Right? So if you wanted something to appear, for example, we just drop in, for example, a letter. Bam, ba-da-dam, bam, bam. So let's say nothing's there first. It's about 2 seconds. The word yo appears. But yo appears at the same time that this thing starts exploding out. So it goes yo. Right? So it's like, and you can always add those little effects with it. If you want to even manipulate this even further, so it doesn't actually have to look like a circle per se. If you play with, for example, the size or the roundness or any of these other options, you can animate anything you want in there. So you could make it even get elongated while it's doing this. So it starts off like this, becomes a smaller. Probably even starts off like this. Maybe you want to be a circle closer to there. So say 69, and it goes like this. Bam. And you can always do that. You can always combine it with other things like another circle that has a line in it and have it do an expansion. But a repeater tool can be very useful. And I guess if you looked on a YouTube, as I'm showing you here, hold on. Right, so it has different options. So here's some examples of what the repeater does. Like the radial repeater, you know what? Forget it. You can watch on YouTube later. Grammarly is just too much. So I hope you learned something from that.